Hello and good evening for this Thursday, April 13th, 2023. We just finished watching Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 9, titled Vox. But we're just getting started here on Live Long and Podcast, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or you might be listening to us on the audio version. I'm Dave Mader. We're here to break down this episode. Spoilers ahoy. We're assuming you've seen this episode as well. If you have not, you probably don't want to be here, but we will be talking all about this episode, Vox. I'm Dave Mader, as mentioned, and joining me tonight, we have Adam Woodward.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Good. How are you tonight, Adam?
Pretty good. Just finished it like 10 minutes ago, so I'm ready to go.
He's fresh.
Fresh off the rails.
And also joining us, fresh and ready to talk about all this, is Chris Murphy, the World Mind.
Oh man, what a banger episode this was. Oh my goodness, so much fun.
A banger episode. We finally got some answers about what was going on, guys, with let's get that banner off. With Jack. Oh, it's the new format. And lots to break down in this episode. Lots to talk about. I don't even know really where to start. There's a few headlines at this hour. I feel like we have to acknowledge that Shaw died. That was a big character death in this episode. You know, he goes down as the hero. He sacrifices himself, and I pass on the torch to you, 7 of 9. You're the new captain of the Titan. When all this dust settles, you know, if he has such an authority. There we obviously saw Shelby come back here. We saw a new Enterprise, but then more importantly, we saw the Enterprise D return. But even more importantly, we got all kinds of answers with Jack, and Jack's a Borg prince or something. And there's all that kind of stuff going on. Guys, Adam, let's go to you first. What did you think of the episode?
Okay, started a little slow. Now, I'd seen you guys chatting this morning and was eager to get going onto it. So I thought we'd get going a little quicker. But once we got going, I'm blown away. I have to go watch it again because there was a lot to it. Things that I thought would come or going to happen, which was great. And there's still, I can't believe how many doors we have to close in one episode next week.
Yeah, well, they had left a lot of doors open, metaphorically speaking, coming into this. Like, what was going to go on here with Jack? What was going to go on with the conspiracy with the changelings? It all kind of is wrapped up in itself. Chris, I want to go to you next. What was your sort of the thing you were most like sort of impacted by the episode when it was over? You know, like what was sort of sticking with you?
The incredible amount of nostalgia that filled the rage hole in my heart to see a new favorite shot down far too quick in his prime, in my opinion. And I've been processing it. I've been wanting to watch the episode again. Like I was thinking about rewatching it before I came back on today, but I didn't find the time. But I'm gonna rewatch it again before next week's episode. It was so good. We got Sweet D. We get that Sweet D, and I don't even know what to say other than like
the
wow.
Enterprise D. I'm with you. It's my favorite ship ever, and you know, to have it back. I watched this episode twice. And I cried both times with this Enterprise D stuff. Like, you know, that even them on the bridge and everything, I was like, this is all fan service. I know they're just giving me what I want here, but I don't care. I love it. Give me all of this. This was the best.
Isn't that what we want? I mean,
yeah.
Who cares? It's great. Like,
some critics will say that this isn't very original, and this is
who cares?
Whatever,
Well, if you think about all of our reviews from the previous episodes, we were always complaining about how bloody dark it was. And we finally got to see the light in this episode at the very end. And I guess it could be a symbolism of hope and all that reigniting throughout, you know, Star Trek. It was so well done. The moment that really hooked me was when Data tried to console Picard. That was the moment I was like, oh God, I know what I'm ranking this episode. So like, yeah.
I'd say the only thing negative for me was that, like, I feel like the first maybe act of the episode, or maybe, you know, the first 2 acts I thought were pretty slow. I wasn't super into it. And then the episode really picks up and gets more exciting and more interesting. But there's a lot of stuff with Jack at the beginning, which I'm glad we got answers, but at the end I'm not necessarily exactly happy with what the answer was. The fact that this is the Borg. After all of this, we saw the red door, the red things. I'm not mad that I was wrong about the Pa race or anything, but I'm just more
There's no Vox Sola.
Yeah, the fact that this is just he's the Borg prince. He's like he's inherited. There was a Borg sperm that
he's got Borg. He's got Borg Bluetooth, is what he's got basically, and he's only able to connect to the young kids that have the Borg Bluetooth that they downloaded.
DNA rewritten by transporters. There was some interesting
brilliant
explanations here. I don't know. You can call it brilliant. I don't know. Like it's kind of. I feel like, especially with coming off with everything they did with the Borg last season, I feel like the decision to make this the Borg is sort of obvious and sort of and kind of contradicting what they did with the whole season last season with that other Borg faction that wanted to join the Federation, and Alison Pill was the new Borg queen and all that stuff.
Explain this to me, because Picard in this episode, we haven't seen the Borg in 10 years.
Yeah, they heard, we know that at the end of Voyager that Janeway destroyed the transwarp hub, and the Borg were pretty crippled from that. That would have been like 20 years before this. So they said that. So they at least had seen a little bit of the Borg around the 80s, the 2380s, that is. But yeah, it been like for over a decade they hadn't heard from them. I don't know why. Maybe they're laying low. They know that we know that in season 1 there was that derelict Borg cube that was just sitting there that the Romulans were like using to do whatever experiment.
Yeah, they really. At that season, season 1 led us to believe that Borg are done. They're finished. And,
right.
It was over. And then last season, I guess, doesn't count.
Well, I don't think it was that the Borg are done per se. It's that there's an off section of Borg that have evolved to a point where they want to befriend the humanity and all that stuff. And Dr. Girardi is basically the queen of that little hub.
That's another faction. That's not the main. Yeah. That's not original Recipe Borg, which we got back in this episode.
Yeah,
so is that the way to wrap it up next week? Bring her back in somehow.
Well, okay, so I feel like there's going to be 3 things that are going to happen next week. They're going to have Girardi come in with like some Deus Ex Machina third act Borg savior. B, have Wesley come in at some point, and he comes in with his like alternate dimension superpower saving powers, which I kind of am hoping for. I really want some Wesley closure. It would feel criminal not to have him. Or C, they pull Cisco out of the wormhole and he's coming in like the quarterback and saving the day. I don't know.
I'm okay. Yeah, maybe. Like I don't know. Like this thing with Jack and the Borg thing. Like I'm still processing it, but fine. And the fact that the Borg Queen is here, a new Borg Queen, the one, because that other one from the other dimension or whatever, timeline or whatever it was in season 2 merged with Girardi, but that was a whole different Borg Queen, I guess. This is
now. Are we getting Alison Krieg?
Yeah, Krieg is back doing the voice at least. I don't know if she was on set or anything. We never see her actual face, but it was nice to have her back as well. I think she's of course really good back in Star Trek First Contact, and she did the finale of Voyager where Janeway killed that version too. So she's died a bunch of times and come back. It's all good. Here, let's jump into the what do you call them? Screenshots. Thank you. So we got our whole like previously on that was broken down for us. Like the crew is back together here, and this is I don't know. Everyone's happy to see each other. The changelings have infiltrated Starfleet. There's a conspiracy. Something's going to go down on Frontier Day. Frontier Day is this episode. Jack is dealing with things in his head. Troy's trying to help him.
Something's going
on with Picard's body. Something's going on with his Irumodic syndrome. Something needs to be explained there. Jack got red eyes sometimes and can control people. And we kind of like where we left off is kind of where this episode starts, and that's all kind of broken down. What's behind the door? We've been waiting 9 episodes. We better get some answers finally, and we finally do. They spend this is what they spend the time on here. We see the door. This paint is cracking. You know, they got to get in there. This music is playing through the first part of the episode, like this old timey kind of.
You know what else was kind of cool about this scene, actually, for me, was understanding that Deanna, you know, we always know that she was part of a, very, very well. What's the word? She can connect with her patients, but man, we didn't know she could be in the memory or in the.
Her powers or whatever they needed them to be at any given time. That's always the rule of Deanna Troi.
Yeah, but this was good. I like this. I like the way she was part of this whole sequence.
Yeah, well, they used her character well.
Like so well done. It was so perfect.
Then it was American Beauty guys here. Why? With the rose petals falling here and everything coming in. We got a comment here from Mike O'Connor.
Borg and Dominion team up with the ultimate weapon. Return of the Borg Queen. Going to need Wesley, Girardi, Borg, Cisco at least. He's right. Gonna need the whole kitchen sink. And speaking of kitchen sinks, we brought in Jody.
Well, I don't think you brought me in. I think I brought myself in, but anyway.
Well, I mean, we had to bring in the something.
Wow.
Jody, did you like the American Beauty sequence to start the episode?
The only thing it was missing is Picard bare-chested with covered in roses, but you can't have it all.
Playing his flute.
It was fast. It was okay.
This is the worst part of this episode.
It was the worst part of the episode, I agree, but I still liked it.
Well, I don't know if it was it was the bit that dragged. It was just like
all the rose petals, all the flowers, but they're interconnected by the vines. Which, of course, on the rewatch, I was like, okay, so this is the Borg. But we didn't know. I didn't know the first time. I'm like, please don't be the Borg.
I just want to also say I called this.
Yep.
Yeah, you did, Jody.
I did.
Is that the reason you came tonight, just to tell us that?
Yes, actually. No.
The sequence was kind of spooky and kind of like they went for a real tension here, a real horror. Terry Matalas directed this episode, and he's also written the finale.
Doing the next one, yeah.
We're gonna be watching next.
This is the Terry Matalas movie.
This is like the Terry Matalas movie. This is playing in 10 cities on big screens. These last 2 episodes together.
This is a cinema quality storyline. Everything is great about it. I would love to see this in 2 parts, or 1 part as well. Like one.
Yep.
Yeah. Just one sitting on a big screen, IMAX.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Even this stuff here with Jack and this door, because then the door opens, and then they don't tell us. This was what was driving me nuts here, because this moment here, we're like, Deanna's like, no, she runs away.
What else could put her into a response?
Yeah, but the minute she did that, I'm like, okay, I was right.
It's the Borg.
Did that.
But she hasn't said it yet. We still don't know.
We know it's the Borg. We know it's the Borg. The way she reacted.
Yeah, she can't. Yeah, like the moment she can't be like, "Oh, I can't talk to you about this. You're gonna freak out."
He was like, "Tell me what you saw."
I gotta go talk to Picard. He was one of these at one point.
Yeah, she goes to see Picard, and
she knows a thing or two.
And then we get the flashback where they finally give us the answer. We finally see this door open, and what's behind this red stuff? This red door. A green cube. It didn't make any sense to me. Like I was like, why is like the?
But
green...
Dave, they couldn't do the green. I was thinking about this. They couldn't do.
If they did the green, it would either be Romulan or Borg. Yeah. We would automatically assume.
We would know. So they had to give us this red herring of the red.
Exactly,
door.
A red herring.
The only thing that bugs me about this is it took us 9 out of 10 episodes to get to this point. So next week's episode is gonna be brutal because it's gonna go through really quickly, and I want to see.
There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of things they got to answer next week.
Is next week's episode a 2-parter, or is it just
just the one?
It's just the one, so it's just a normal.
It might be a longer episode. We'll see, but
I hope it's a longer.
Maybe we'll get an extra 20 minutes. Maybe
Part 9 is Vox, guys. This is maybe the most interesting Star Trek episode title ever, just for how short it is. And it has a special character with this little squiggly line.
Vox means. Listen.
Voice,
yeah.
And that's his Borg name, is Vox of Borg.
Yeah, the whole him being that name, I was kind of but I liked the idea that they used Vox as the name of the title.
Right. She comes down, he's like, Borg, how could it be Borg? He's never been assimilated, and we get all this exposition. Them trying to, how could this be? And they give us, I don't know, this explanation I thought was kind of weird that he passed it on, and the Ironic syndrome was actually always his Borg stuff. I guess, like, it's an interesting choice, And so this part of the episode, I watched it twice. I feel like this stuff is also not my favorite stuff in the episode.
I've watched this 3 times now today.
Yeah, and
I just enjoyed it so much.
I enjoy the stuff that comes after this a lot. It's just this stuff I felt like
the first 10 to 15 minutes is kind of draggy.
I'll tell you the exact moment.
Sorry, you go ahead.
I was going to say, the exact moment that the episode turns and becomes instantly better is the moment Data puts his hand on Picard's shoulder. That's the moment. It just goes up and up.
Oh,
and
yes.
up.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
The scene here between Picard and Jack, I thought was okay. Where, and there was some interesting ways they shot it. Just like the lighting of the room and like how sometimes they're far apart. And they basically Picard is like, well, and Deanna alludes to it earlier that there's protocols that have to be, observed. Like Jack is actually dangerous. He can mind control people. He's got this Borg influence. He's very dangerous to people.
And did you notice the pattern behind him on the wall, on the bulkhead there? The honeycombs.
It's the hive.
The hive, yeah.
God damn it!
I didn't notice that. That's
the whole time.
That's a good point.
Good spot there.
Very good spot. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, I don't know. Jack. The stuff with Jack is like this character that they've given to us over the last 8 episodes, and we're supposed to care about him, and I'm trying to, and I kind of do.
I don't care about him at all.
But he's so new that it's like, you're asking me to be very emotionally invested with him. But he's also the son now of Beverly and Picard.
So. I'm absolutely positive he doesn't live past next episode. Like,
but also here too is like, he's heard about the Borg, probably never seen them, never had to deal with them, but it's just a terrifying thing for him. I mean, at the same time, like, I got to deal with the Borg. It must be awful. Yeah.
Yeah, even that window cover that they had that changeling bucket in that he was hiding. Remember, he was hiding it in one of those little windows with the honeycomb.
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah. It was always the Borg. We should have always known. Even last week.
God damn it, Talis.
When Amanda Plummer's character said, "Oh, well, it's fitting that you're here 7 of 9 when we reveal to Jack what he is." And of course, they were telling us. They were telling us then that this was going to be the Borg.
And that's why I kind of came to my conclusion that it was probably he was a half Borg, half something else.
Yeah, he's the Borg prince.
Yeah,
the Borg jester. Or do you want to? Is he worthy of Borg king? Are we willing to give him that title?
No, he's not a king yet. He's certainly not a king. He's got to blow something up first.
Yeah, blow at least something or similar.
That's next week's episode.
Yeah,
before you're king worthy.
He's got to slay his father first.
Yeah.
There you
go. Yeah,
to Mike's point though, in the comments there, I really want to see Girardi's Borg. Now
is she gonna come back?
I want to see her like show up and like fight them.
Return to the Borg Queen. Need to get
one faction of Borg against the others. Oh, that'd be so cool.
Jane did wonder why can we call in Wesley Crusher in the Traveler here to come in and save the day with the family crisis.
That would be great, but look, in that list of things, Wesley, Girardi, Borg, Cisco, Picard, that's a lot of things.
The only thing I want to see is Girardi. I don't need to see Cisco at all.
I don't really need to see Cisco either, but
not at all. And Wesley, I don't give a shit about.
I do. I'd like to see Wesley come back because we only got teased with Wesley last season.
Wesley needs to come back enough and be the catalyst to save it all. I'm telling you.
If he shows up and ends up saving everybody, I'm gonna be so pissed off.
With that huge grin on his face.
Superhero of Star Trek. How many times does he save the ship? Sure, he caused
Wesley
Crusher too, but that's not.
If he puts on the uniform of when he used to be a kid.
Crystalline Entity. There's another one. That'd be neat.
I guess, but like I don't know. I don't think they know what to do with the Wesley Crusher character. Like they're just like he's too.
Well, at this point, his arc's already done, right? Like it's
it ended on the 7th season of TNG, much like Rolaren. But then on the other hand, they brought her back.
I think his arc is done. In fact, I believe the fact that they've talked about Beverly's like I
like
lost
this
my
part,
son because gave him too much space, and I've held my son too close. Like he needs to come in and humanize Jack.
Gave him too much space. Jesus,
so
she was all over him.
Hey, I'm this brother you've never met, just to go to be a companion with this dad you've never met either.
I think you're right. I think that actually that arc was not finished. It was too quick, too over, and we need to close that one off somehow.
We don't need to do it in this though.
Well, we see here that like Jack takes over.
In the next show.
Even Jack and Beverly here and their whole scene.
Do you think after the ratings of this season that this is going to be the last?
I feel like they'll probably do another.
They're going to do something.
I feel like they're going to go for another one.
I want Star Trek Legacy. They can end this Picard thing. They can let Patrick.
You want a spin-off? You want the Titan spin-off?
I want a spin-off. I want a Titan spin-off.
Well, the bad news is the one spin-off I really wanted doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Oh God!
You see here, Jack steals the shuttle after he tells his mom that he doesn't. Him and his mom have this conversation that I don't think is that interesting. But he steals the shuttle. He's just able to kind of do it.
Okay, I will admit that conversation there was the moment where I was like, okay, I can get behind Jack's motivations.
I completely agree with this guy who.
We're mourning for Shaw, but I don't think they're gonna unless they resurrect him as a Borg.
Shaw was such a good character at this point.
He was a great character. However, I'm glad they, they did a Walking Dead and got somebody big on the show off. It just they needed to do it.
We had too many going on here.
As I was saying, the chat between Beverly and Jack was the moment I got behind Jack because his motivations were all like, I'm going to go to the Borg Queen, get some answers, and then show him who I really am. And I was like,
no, it makes no sense. Jack was like an idiot. Like, he was like, what are you going to do? Shoot her? Like, this was your plan? You were going to walk up to the Borg Queen and just shoot her the phaser. And that was...
Well, I was... Okay, admittedly, I don't know what his plan was being. I thought he was going to be a little more elaborate. I thought he was going to be smarter, maybe try to hack the system or something.
No plan.
Hack the Borg planet, if you will.
He just, he's like, nope. Then he couldn't shoot her, and then he was basically like submitted to the assimilation.
Dude knows how to die. I agree.
Shaw went out like a hero.
I think he's referring to Crusher.
He was a hero. This whole thing here, Jack found the Borg cube. There was a transwarp conduit. I guess the Borg came through and went into this like nebula.
Or is it like a fucking mega city?
Yeah, I was thinking.
I think this is like an
some kind of ship
kind of thing.
I think the ships can pull out of it. Like, you got a cube and it could just pull off and become its own thing.
I feel like
this
is just a corner of a bigger piece.
That's a corner of a cube.
He's just in a really small shuttle. Like, it just looks
No. What I mean is there's more attached to the cube that you can't see behind, because the only reason I believe that is there's like crazy antennas on this thing, and the closer you get, that these antennas get bigger and bigger. And it makes me believe that this thing is like a conglomerate. Like, think of it like this way: one cube, and then more of them are just like piled onto it, but you can't quite see it.
Well, we saw that in the Omnimatrix thing, though, didn't we? Where they had like the ability to link together and stuff in Voyager.
Yeah. So like,
they had like the Unimatrixes and like all that kind of stuff. But that I thought this was just a ship. I just thought it was a ship, but maybe it was more than that. I wish instead of a Borg cube, it would be more interesting to see a Borg city on a metallic planet, something more menacing and surreal. We saw a little bit of that in Voyager. There are some like the episodes where they see.
Well, we saw a little bit in First Contact too.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, we saw more like that movie introduced like the sphere and the different like types of Borg ships you can get, and then Voyager did a ton. Voyager did a ton of the Borg stuff. With different size and shapes.
So the only thing that bugs me about this particular conversation that's happening is eventually Beverly says, like, how could I have missed this? And I have to agree, considering
I let Leslie go and I kept this guy close to me and I missed it anyway.
Yeah, right. Well, and on top of that, she's like, oh, he's got foreign DNA. How could I have missed that? It's like, that's a good question. How could you have missed that? Because literally they have computers in this time of day that literally can do the entire DNA sequence in like 10 seconds.
They talked about it that like, yeah, you can do the DNA sequence, but it wasn't to a level of degree that they were able to detect it until Noonien Singh had like extracted the DNA and he noticed the anomaly, and then he started being able to track it and identify it, and that's when he started putting in the information. So that's only recent, like Picard dying recent. That's how they got that information. So she's had her son for years, and assuming it was just typical, he's good. He's not assimilating anybody, and
they are explaining why Picard could hear the Borg in First Contact, despite that he had his implants removed.
He had the Bluetooth Wi-Fi chip still in him that he could only.
It's right down to his DNA. His DNA's, all Borg have their DNA modified upon assimilation, so they can accept the implants. And we find out that Jack is a transmitter. Jack's more than just a receiver. He's the voice. He's the transmitter. He's the Vox.
He's the 5G.
He's the 5G, exactly. So like there's all this explanation, and then
The
Worf all
5J.
breaks down. Worf breaks down like the conspiracy here with the changelings, that it's all been leading to Frontier Day and the Borg and them coming in here, and they're gonna take over everything and screw up the entire Starfleet and get their revenge. And then
all the dialogue in this scene though that Worf says is just it is so out of character for him the way he says it. It's like,
what do you mean?
It was so like bland and boring how he said it, and he was basically just repeating what other people were saying for the most part, which I thought was kind of odd.
Okay,
because he's like, oh well, he says something about how like the whole armada's there or something like that, and it's like after somebody already said that like literally the entire group is there, and he's like, yes, the whole armada is there or something like that. He says it's like, okay,
he hasn't had to do a briefing
a
in
tactical
a while.
report. He's a tactical officer.
Yeah.
However, he does have some good lines in this episode.
He has some really good moments here. But anyway, Picard says we gotta get to like the Sol system, the Earth system right away. And Shaw says, "You mean where we're the like most wanted people ever, and we're gonna take over our ship right away?"
I'm gonna miss him.
And every one of them have their faces plastered on their dartboards.
Yeah. I thought that they should have kept this guy alive just for him to always be like, "Are you sure that that's a
this
good
guy
idea?"
This guy is fantastic comic relief. I don't know why you would want to get rid of
just the
this
guy
character.
who's always like, "Are you
There's
sure?"
so many other people to kill.
Right.
Well, they do a good job of that.
We're not going to need Raffi in one more episode, so why don't kill her now?
Yeah, they don't really use her a ton in this either, and
she had enough screen time in this series so far. Like,
okay, but I feel like right after this, like this whole briefing where they're explaining to like the whole conspiracy, and then it really starts to pick up here when we get the transition into the actual Frontier Day,
Such a cool
where the music
transition.
picks up. We get to see this new space dock that they have. We haven't really seen,
and we get to see the F.
You get to see the Enterprise F guys come out of here of the new space dock, right out of Star Trek Online, the Odyssey class with that split neck design, NCC 1011F.
You and I, Dave, we've both seen this ship before.
I have one of these in the game.
But like the people who didn't see this, I bet this was quite an incredible thing to see.
It was a great scene.
I was one of them.
There she is. Okay,
I love that she was in this too.
Shelby from the best of both worlds.
As soon as I heard her voice, I was excited because
they announce it. They say, "Here comes the NCC 1701F, commanded by Admiral Shelby."
And then you go, the Shelby.
She finally got the Enterprise.
Yeah, here she is after 36 years or whatever it's been since that episode.
Oh my god, she's great. They should have used her more.
She was amazing.
No, just like Roller, and they got to kill her quickly.
And she's like a fleet admiral. Actually, she got ranks even Picard now. In terms of all.
Well, that's not surprising though.
Yeah,
she was quite the go-getter. That one.
She was quite the go-getter. She dies in this episode though. Like they bring her back just to kill her, just like Roller.
I love that line, Adam.
We're gonna bring back all the TNG faithful, and then we're gonna kill them. That's always. I'm like,
shut up, Dave. Adam, what was that line again?
That scene in the turbo lift where Riker says,
where Riker talks to her,
yeah, you do an end run around me one more time, I'm gonna
snap you back. And now she's like,
I'll snap you back down to Nixon or something.
6 ranks higher than him now.
Oh yeah, she's totally. Well, she was a go-getter though, right? Like
she was.
Even the Admiral was like. The Admiral back then was like,
that was
"Oh, you watch her."
Admiral Hansen. He says, "You watch this one, Picard." She's like,
she's gonna be going up there. Back to here, and then we get the flash over to the Borg here. I bet Tuvok Tai do just because it's the team. Yeah, like they probably bringing back people. Just you don't want to be asked to be on this show unless you're
at this point. If you get like an email,
they're just cleaning things up.
Hey, you guys want to be in this?
Yeah. Like you might have a good time for a few episodes, but you're
gonna have a bad time at the end.
Right. So we see here Shelby's giving the announcement. Even Riker's like, I can't believe Admiral Shelby's like endorsing this.
I wanted a little bit more from Riker though. I would have liked to be like, they should have like kind of like when she showed up on screen, they should have went back to him and he should have been like, oh, Shelby.
Like if you go back to something
like that would have been hilarious.
in Best of Both Worlds Part 2, where Riker has to like give Shelby, like he decides like that could be the first officer for the rest of the mission, and he's like, I've decided reluctantly that Shelby should be my like he's like, I have to concede that she's the best person.
It's a good point that Murphy makes, though, is that he would have already known at this point that she was a fleet admiral.
Oh, I don't think this was news to him, just more that she was like parading this new technology that the fleet is all interconnected now, like by.
Well, and I like the line because one of them says that, right? One of them's like, you know,
Picard,
out of everybody, she would be the one not to do that.
Yeah, Picard's like the irony that she would be supportive of such Borg-like technology.
Yeah, he's like, she's got to get her head straightened on that, Admiral.
Well, the good news is she does.
Yeah, and we see how many ships are there. It's a lot of ships.
It's like kind of weird that you bring the whole armada to one place, though. I mean, like,
did we not learn anything from Pearl
Harbor? Just for an anniversary of Archer, we get the whole story here of guys. We know about Archer from our Enterprise podcast every Monday. You can check it out, and we hear the story of how he went. Him and his 83 souls went on their first mission. And then they fought the Zindi.
He didn't come back with 83, though, just so you know.
No, some of them died. Some of them got blown up by religious zealots, like in the episode, whatever it was. You know, we watched it a few weeks ago. But, yeah, we see here Shelby. Everything's going on. Yeah, this is kind of the part where they're criticizing her here. And then they're coming into the system. I think that we're getting this intercut with Jack talking to the Borg Queen. He
goes into the chamber. We don't actually see her.
Yeah, Jack got honey trapped here.
Before you get here, like even that the Titan could get that close to all of those. I mean, these guys are terrorists to all of them right now.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like the most wanted in all of Starfleet, and like they kind of just fly right up into the system and get taken over immediately, which is what they expect to happen. I was like, what was your plan? What was the plan here? Exactly. There was no plan. The Borg Queen, we don't see her face.
I love the fact that they don't show Alice Krieg's face, though.
I wish they did.
No, because they're going to save that for next episode.
This was his plan. Come on with a phaser. And one phaser, not even a phaser rifle. He's got to bring a hand phaser.
How versed is this guy really in Borg?
Like, he had to bust out Kirk's classic phaser. He felt like the only way to kill the Borg was with an antique.
He was way out of his league. Yeah, you're right.
Got the ones from Enterprise.
This is supposed to be a modern Starfleet phaser, but it looks exactly like the original series and like.
I thought that one's like an antique, or supposed to be kind of antique-ish.
Maybe,
I thought there was a comment about it being
I thought it was meant. I was more of the mind that this was just a phaser he grabbed from the Titan that was more a modern one, but maybe not. We don't actually see him fire it, and we see here that she talks about him being the Vox, that his name. Because there was a couple other Latin names she threw at him. He didn't like them, And
so are we basically going to get another act of mind battles like we did with Data last episode, but this time it'll be Jack?
Well, like what's going to is Jack? I don't know. Like, what is Jack going to actually?
I think they're going to kill him off.
Or is he going to be the great villain? Because like Picard warns him earlier in the conversation, like I knew I came so close to killing everybody I ever loved, and again destroying all of humanity. And now Jack is looking like he's not just got this DNA in him now; he's going to be like fully assimilated next time. It's
history repeating, Dave. That's what this is.
Yeah, and this is where it's all explained to us that everybody
the dark side pretty quickly
through the transporters and through the code that they took Picard's dead body. They're saying like when you get transported, if you're a human, they're just going to like kind of fill in some of the code based on all humans having some common characteristics.
It's simple encryption. You only send the stuff over that you need to send over, not
right, because it kind of comes down to a data stream in some way. Yeah. Like I was like, this is an interesting way of talking about transporters, but
that also means the first time you're transported, you're never actually your original anymore.
Right, because it comes down to like the system architecture, even like of the transporter, and even Jody, who's like a Commodore, he's like, what? Like,
Well, and you also have to remember, Dave, they don't have Mayweather to fix it.
Right. Well, Mayweather's been dead for about 200 years at this point.
But is he?
Well, maybe. Did
anybody actually see him die, Dave?
We did not see him die. We haven't seen him.
I gotta say, I love that fireworks are still a thing.
Yeah. It's a big thing in Starfleet, apparently.
Well, this was a good fake too, because all the people that were looking at like the script, because they released one of the screenshots with 3 of the fireworks in it. but they took out all the ships. So the artwork, the original artwork, which is the teaser artwork for it, showed that, and one of them looked like it was a portal. So everybody thought it was like, oh, it's going to be some sort of portal or something. Nope, just a firework.
Yeah. Everyone was like,
it was a good red herring, though.
It's a Borg portal. Yeah, and we see here, as soon as they fly in, the Titan is taken over.
I love the fact that like all of the instruments just go red, and it's like formation mode. You're not allowed to do anything now.
Yeah, you can't do everything. Like this is obviously a bad idea. Like, okay, we saw in Star Trek Discovery, Adam, that like Control was this crazy AI system that nearly destroyed the entire Federation, and they're kind of going down the same road here in 2401. What's going on?
Exactly. What's going on?
We learned this from Jurassic Park, for Christ's sakes. Like,
well,
you don't tie everything into one system. It's a bad idea.
Battlestar Galactica.
You didn't say please.
What is it? Battlestar? I'm
not familiar with that. Remember, because that's how Adama in Battlestar was able to save the ship because it wasn't networked with all the other ships. And that's kind of what they do here at the end when they bring in the Enterprise D, because it's like, this is an old analog ship that's not hooked up to like the Wi-Fi.
I felt like, Picard's the Adama, and, the grumpy old guy who won't go in the network.
Is the network what makes it so dark?
Maybe.
How many more things did they lean on Battlestar Galactica now that you think about it? Because they've got the decommissioned ship, or not decommissioned, but like not.
Oh, did you notice that, by the way? This just reminds me of that. That one of the ships is named Pulaski.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
USS Pulaski. Yeah,
and like people like even McCoy, who was against using the transporter. I think there's good reason now not to use a transporter. If it rewrites my DNA, that could turn me into a Borg. That was not a hazard I was ever.
Well, at this point, you probably shouldn't have.
No, that's out of left field.
It's, and I feel okay like if you're over 25.
I have to give them credit, though. I did not predict that. That was a great addition to the show. Was the idea that literally anybody who's used a transport on a Starfleet ship that's under the age of 25 is most likely going to be controlled by the Borg.
But
they're more like
great idea.
And this all comes down to the idea that a rogue group of changelings decided to work with the Borg just to get revenge on the Federation. Like
the whole changeling Borg thing I don't know about, but I love the idea that only the young are going to be assimilated, though. I love that idea.
Because about this whole other loophole that they wrote in, which was like the prefrontal cortex of your brain starts developing after 25. So that's, even if you went through the transporter, it's not going to assimilate you wirelessly, at least, but you are your connection lost, just like with Adam.
Literally
like
happened.
Adam. That was perfect timing.
We see here that they try to. Their plan was to fly up here, get taken over, and then warn Shelby. And if Shelby didn't go for this warning, they were screwed. But we see here that this exact moment, now that Jack is powering the Borg, whatever it is, the ship or the construct in the nebula, it's coming through. Janeway, 7 of 9 gets the signal. I was hoping we were going to see Janeway in this episode. We don't get to see her.
The Borg plugged in their 5J signal, and now they're getting boosted.
They're coming. They're taking it all over. This is why you need an analog ship. You need an Enterprise D.
But you see, they're saving Janeway because she's old as well. I mean, they got to bring her back.
They're saying 7 of 9 is old enough, but she's also been assimilated before. She should be more susceptible, actually.
I agree. I thought she would have been, honestly, but.
Yeah, with those implants already in there. But we see here that it was kind of a cool zombie moment here, like almost like a horror moment with the Bajoran guy whose name I forget right now. But the lieutenant, they're like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" And he doesn't respond. And it's kind of like almost like he's been taken over, almost like Last of Us. With been infected here by the Borg, and they're kind of explaining to us here between Jody and Data and Crusher.
But this is interesting because Jody's starting to realize his girls are now going to be
his girls. They're young enough to be susceptible, and we see that Sydney LaForge here actually transforms right in front of our eyes with their eyes going black, and then they're going to go back to this other look. But she does the whole "We are Borg," resistance is futile. Jordy's losing his mind. He can't. We see that the other daughter as well.
I like Jordy's reaction though. It wasn't overdone. It was kind of what I would have thought his character would have been like. Like he's obviously hurt by this thing that just happened, but he also knows he has a job to do still, so he's
he was leaving.
He's hanging tight.
He was leaving, and I think Data called him, or somebody called him back and said, "You can't go." And he came back and got composed really quickly.
Yeah. But I like that though.
Yeah. No, Jody was good, and like,
I was just saying, the irony is like earlier, when he was first introduced in the season, he was all like, "No, I got to protect my daughters." And the truth be told, if he had done nothing, they would have been in far worse condition because they would have been Borgs, and he would have been like, "What is going on?" And
he would have they would have been in worse shape, We also see here when Shelby calls over, she's like, "We're being taken over by people," and then we see like she gets shot by these like lieutenants here. They just totally execute her right in front of everybody.
Ceremoniously done in.
Yeah. See you later, Shelby. Bring her back.
Welcome back. Bye. Welcome back. Bye.
Welcome back. Bye. Adam. I thought
you can share the trailer with.
But here when they
some of the other ones that are dead.
There's a lot of young ensigns. All the lower deckers are coming up.
I love that though. I love that idea.
They've been assimilated, all of them, and and I think Picard says, "Put it on stun." They're victims. So
Shaw don't look like he cares.
And this whole scene here with Jody, where she's like, "I have to get out of here for my girls." I actually pulled this audio here.
I gotta get to my girls. I'm talking, Jody. Stop. And do what? No. We need a plan. All right?
Yeah, we need a plan, buddy. You can't be doing all that.
I like how they've written Data for these last couple episodes, though.
Yeah, I like the way Spiner's playing them. Like, it's nice to have him back as Data and not as some Soong uncle or whatever that they had him played in the previous seasons. So it's working out better for me here. We see here why was this particular officer? She became like the leader of the Borg group here. She was like the one.
She got the most screen time of the season. That's why.
Okay,
that's probably it.
There you go. We see here they try to stop on the turbolift on one deck, and everybody's dying like in front of them. They're like, "Okay, let's get off. Let's not get off on that floor." And like we see here, like this guy's coming at them. Then they get this call, and while they're in the turbolift from the other Excelsior, the new Excelsior, NCC 42037.
Oh, stop there for a second. I want to see all these.
Yeah, we got the USS Hikaru Sulu, the USS Intrepid, the Luna, the
Resnick's in there. Nice.
Yeah, the Gilgamesh.
Cochrane's there.
Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh.
Trumbull.
The Magellan, the Venture, the Clark, the Akuta, USS Akuta, USS Ross, the Drexler. I see like USS.
I liked this scene a lot.
Well, the Excelsior's like, we managed to take over our bridge. Wait, our ship's being taken over by the override system.
We've been pulled out of formation. What's happening? Tell my family.
And then they're gone. They're dead.
Did you also notice on the side of that screen they have the controls similar to like the NX-01? I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. Yeah. And they're like, well, we have to. Then Shaw's like, we have to get to like the maintenance shuttle. Our shuttle won't be affected by this computer virus.
This is the only thing in the Titan that I honestly don't understand. Why do the turbolifts have such huge fucking displays in them? Like, you're just in it for a couple seconds. Like, you don't need huge.
They knew that they were going to have all this scene here, Jody, later on in the season.
I guess maybe
where they were going to have to explain all these things.
Black.
Yeah, it's the only place where you have a little bit of lighting. We see here, the Enterprise F has been taken over. All of them have become Borgified, and now they're, we see.
I think it's interesting how they're laid out, though.
Yeah, they're in like these weird formations too, like
circle formations with like two triangles.
I guess it makes sense, the fact that they're under this computer control, so that they would be more.
Well, they would definitely be organized.
There's got to be some significance here. I was trying to figure this out too.
This one I couldn't figure out either. I was like, there's got to be something going on here, but anyway.
We just see and then they're like, we're going to target the space dock. We're going to take over everything. And then they Shaw here where they point their guns at each other when the doors open. Shaw. And
then we get that cringy line from Deanna.
Troy. She's like, I've never been happy to see so many wrinkles, I think is the line.
But I wish one of them were just like, fuck you, Deanna. Like, have you looked at yourself in a mirror lately? Like, piss off.
Even 7 or 9. Like, I think I have less wrinkles than you. Yeah. But anyway, Jody's like, they got my girls. And Picard's like, don't worry, we'll get them back. We're gonna figure this out, guys. What what was Worf saying? Like, what are we gonna do? One shuttle against the entire fleet?
He was
like,
probably repeating something that somebody else already said.
I don't think that's what he's doing. Anyway, so then these Borg find them on the maintenance hatch, and they start firing at them. And then so Shaw and 7 of 9 are like immediately like, we're gonna get the cover fire. We're gonna protect them. And I was like, well, this is when somebody does this, they almost always die.
Here's a question for you: did Odo survive DS9?
No, no, he did not.
Yeah, we saw him at the end of the series. He goes to the Great Link, and as far as we know, he
goes back into the Great Link, doesn't he?
Yeah, and so and Worf talked to him apparently recently, so I think he's still going.
Yeah, he must be alive then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and so here Data was being not super constructive,
Data, could you try being a little more positive? I hope we die quickly.
That was great. Great line.
I hope we die quickly. The episode's really popping at this point, especially when like this firefight is going off here. Shaw's like, "Go! I'll give you the fire ever," and then he gets shot pretty quickly here.
Like, I slammed my fist on my desk. I was so fucking mad about this. I was so mad. I want justice for Shaw.
I wasn't happy to see this.
I think if Davin was here, he would probably be okay with this because he would say that Shaw wasn't really the captain. He was not impressed with Shaw's lack of bravery in the previous episode where he went into that boardroom.
I don't look at it as it was a lack of bravery. I was looking at it as like the guy is a very stone cold captain. Like he does things as much by the book as he can.
If we go back to the beginning of the series, this season,
I hated him in the first episode.
Yeah, but he's still so un-Starfleet to me. Like he doesn't fit the mold. Maybe that's why we like him.
He's a cranky Starfleet guy.
But he's young. He's too old. He's too young looking to be cranky.
He was an engineer. He was a cranky engineer, and then he became a cranky captain. And then he just did safe.
Yeah, look at Scotty. Scotty was cranky all the time.
Yeah, but he was old.
He just fell up in rank.
Most of the engineers are cranky, except for Jody. But
I don't know. Jordy's pretty cranky too.
See, here's what I didn't like about this scene. So he dies. He passes the torch to 7 of 9. Great.
He gives her respect. He calls her 7 of 9.
Yeah, that was good. But then the Enterprise crew and the Titan crew are separated. So I guess she's staying.
Did she not go with them in the shuttle?
Well, this is the problem, Dave. Because when they get to the Enterprise, you don't see her.
We don't see her, but I assume she was there, along with Raffi, weren't they?
Oh, 7 of 9. Yeah, we didn't see her, but
I didn't like that. I thought that she earned her place on the.
Oh, they did it just for the shot, though.
Yeah, no,
they're not.
It would have been out of place if 7 of 9 and Raffi were standing on.
And they would have to establish that they left us behind.
Well,
and now it's just
Raffi. Hold on, Raffi did stay behind.
Yeah, Raffi stayed behind with 7 of 9. Yeah,
I thought they got on the shuttle.
Actually, she did stay behind. Yeah, absolutely. Because
Raffi
goes,
hung back
"I'm not leaving" or something like that. Yeah.
Wait,
I don't even know if she was that. She just hung back until the door.
No,
closed.
because 7 of 9 was tending to him, and then Raffi came down the corridor, and she's like, "You got to get out of here, Raffi." And Raffi's like, "The hell I will," or something like that. She says, and then she stays there and keeps shooting at people.
Close the door. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, she's not there.
So
they're still on the Titan.
Raffi and 7 of 9 are gonna
way.
Well, okay. Well, it's Raffi and 7 of 9 next episode are gonna have
Mike O'Connor has confirmed it, Dave.
They're badass ladies.
What's that? What's he saying?
No.
Yeah, they both stayed.
He says, "Yeah, they both stayed behind."
Then they're dead. They're gonna be assimilated.
They're not dead. They're just on the Titan.
No, they're badass ladies that are gonna recontrol the ship. They're fighting a bunch of assimilated.
They were targeting
ensigns.
Guys, they're going to be attacking this new space dock. And I was like, no. And then they're going to target the planetary defenses. Like, even if Picard gets the Enterprise D and comes back like a few hours later, it might be too late. It feels like there's a lot of urgency here.
Oh, there's going to be damage to the space dock. We already know that.
There's a lot of ships coming at you, more controlled ships.
It's going to be some damage.
Space dock be damaged or not, it's still the Enterprise D against. Anybody want to guess at how many ships are in that screenshot?
That seems like I'd say about 10.
I would say probably closer to 200-ish.
I think there's easily 1,000 ships there.
Not in that shot, but
look,
I think each group has maybe.
We'll be generous and say 1,500 ships. So 1 versus 1,500 ships. They are going to have to do some sort of vast site-wide neural net hackers crash.
Girardi's coming back.
Yeah, I think
they're going to need a
Girardi's gonna be back.
MacGuffin. They're going to need some kind of like
because Jody has the ability to take over the fleet as well, right?
Or Picard's going to have to do something or something. But then we
Wesley's magic doors.
Yes. So guys, we saw that there's a new space dock. That was the one the Enterprise F came out of. So then we go back to this fleet museum that Jody runs on this other planet.
So here, let's just quickly set Joe straight here. So Joe, the person who died was the one who actually played the Borg Queen in last season. The Borg Queen that's being played now is the original one.
No,
or not the original one, but the one.
Creed.
Yeah, he's talking about
Yeah.
But
so this is
the other Borg's still back. Yeah, the other Borg Queen will come back though.
Right. So this is the old space dock, the one that used to be at Earth.
Yeah.
How did they get it over to this other planet?
They towed it or whatever they do with these things.
They towed it?
Okay, number one, don't even start on this bullshit because they moved fucking DS9 with thrusters.
I don't know.
Don't give me that.
The whole
shit.
other solar.
They can move this.
This can't go to warp.
This is established. They can do it.
What, the saucer? Are you talking about how they brought
the whole station?
saucer back?
They can move the
They
whole
brought the
damn
whole
thing.
station.
Maybe they brought it in
The
pieces.
whole station. No, I think
this whole station used to be orbiting Earth, and now it's over here on this other planet.
Well, isn't it still in the Sol system?
No, because we
still
see
in the
that
Sol
this is the new one that they have,
Yeah.
That's the newer version of it. Yeah.
right? And so this is the old one.
It's at the museum. It doesn't even look like there's a planet around there, Dave. I mean, it could be anywhere.
There's a planet below it. We don't see it in the shot, but they're orbiting another.
They did
planet
actually
now.
show a planet. Yeah.
In the previous episode. That this is where Jody works now, with the museum, right? And
Yeah,
so
they turned it into a museum.
it's at some other planet here. Anyway, so let's not get too stuck on this. Anyway, we see here that they're like, we're gonna get a new ship. We need, and they're like, we're gonna use one of these old ones from the museum. Are we gonna use the Defiant? Are we gonna use Voyager? What's the choice? If we come here into room or door 12 here, you'll see like Jody says he was saving this for us as a surprise.
Oh,
No
and
time
you
like the
knew
present.
right away.
No time like the present.
Oh,
Yeah,
Joe meant Odo. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
same
Joe.
thing.
I thought
Renee,
you meant the
Renee
Borg.
Azure.
Yeah, Rene Auberjonois passed
He
away.
unfortunately is
and,
passed. Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that Odo is dead.
Yeah,
You know,
the
it's
actor who
just-
played him is, but
right.
but
He's
I
a
think the end of
changeling. They could
DS9.
really have any actor do.
He just joined the pool back again, and then that was it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we see that the Enterprise D is then revealed. Okay, and then we get the music. We get that next generation music. It was amazing. It was inspiring.
This was just a great scene. Yeah.
But you know what?
It was the
Dave,
best.
They spent the right time on it.
They did. They didn't show me 20 minutes of it.
It wasn't too long, and it was just
They
about.
didn't do a 5.5 minute fly around like they do.
No,
in the
I
original Star
appreciate
Trek
it.
movie.
Goldilocks. It was the
Both times I watched
Goldilocks
it.
of ship porn for the Enterprise D. And the fun thing is, okay, I love the concept that Geordi has just like taken the saucer like an old Corvette and is a dad working on an old Corvette and restoring it in his garage for the past 20 years, and it's just him restoring the Enterprise D, which is mind-boggling to conceive that even if he had 20 years, he was able to do that.
It's only half the ship
droids.
because in Star Trek Generations, the drive section, the engine was destroyed by
It
a
was
warp
completely
core breach.
destroyed. So everything below the saucer is all something else.
Another ship.
Yeah, which I think was one of the
he
sister ships.
said it was from other bits like the
It was
warp
from the
drive
they
stuff
sell-
Syracuse, they said. He took it. So
Yeah,
this
like
so it's kind
Syracuse
of it's half of the original Enterprise D, but it's still, like you
But
talk
it's
about
good
Okay,
enough.
but just the concept like that one man is putting this together and nobody else knows
I'm fully
about
with
the
you,
Enterprise.
Murphy.
Like, you
I
had to
thought-
have done it with robots.
Yeah, I thought
Oh, yeah.
I've been working on this for some time now. I love that line. I thought
20 years he says he's been on this. However long he's been off the Enterprise
Well,
E.
if you think about Generations, though, after they crash landed the saucer section, yeah, there was obviously a lot of damage, but it was fairly whole.
Well,
So obviously the outside would have to be redone, but I'd imagine not every deck was that.
Every
big.
window was smashed, remember?
Oh
When
yeah,
they-
every
when they
window
crashed
was
on
smashed,
that
yeah.
planet and that so
Yeah,
this
the
would-
amount
this
of
would take a
glass you
while.
would have had to put back in.
The
would be-
bridge doesn't look like it did in Generations. That's a little nitpick, but they went back to the original next gen look. There was also here, Jordy pointed out that obviously we can't use the Enterprise E
And obviously, we can't use the Enterprise E.
That was not my fault.
That was not Worf's fault. So according to the comic books, which are semi-canon, because they were written by like Metalis and the guys who wrote the season, that Worf did become the captain of the Enterprise E after Picard. And then I guess destroyed the Enterprise E somewhere along the way. Now we have an Enterprise F, and we're back to the D here.
Well, and they ran the Enterprise E into what's his name ship in Nemesis, didn't they?
Well, but it was restored after that. But Worf became captain of the Enterprise after that.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but that's my impression. Yeah.
Right. So, but anyway, so getting off track here, they come on. We get this whole scene where they come on the bridge and all these displays light up. It's pure nostalgia. It's amazing.
And at first they didn't turn on like everything, so I'm like, oh shit. They got the same problem that they have with all the other ships now.
It's gonna be so dark. Is it always gonna be this dark?
This is the moment I was waiting for. It's like, is it gonna be like this dark? This is the lighting? Is this what it is?
Is this it?
Brighter. It still wasn't as bright as it was back in the actual show.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
No, it was well balanced. It wasn't as harshly lit.
I do like the carpet line.
It was a well balanced lighting.
I missed the. I was like, I missed the carpet too.
Out of everything, and you guys and everything, the thing I missed the most was the carpet.
But when the lights come on, and I'm like, oh well, they have a well lit bridge, a well lit set. How is this gonna go? Look at those lights. Look at them.
Yeah.
Look at the color, Dave. The color is
so good. The bridge looks so good.
Look at that. Those CAD walls.
I love that. I think the screen is a little wider now than it used to be.
Maybe. It's like look at this Marriott Convention Center. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yes. I stayed in a hotel recently that was much like that.
If you notice here, so the button there on the right side, it said Da Rose. That's referencing Dave Rosey, the old producer. I think some of these other ones are probably referencing other names as well.
Oh, neat.
Like
GR and Ed Bro. Some different things you can see on there. Yeah.
Emmy.
Cool. But yeah, the whole crew is that like the whole cast. They're taking it all in. I feel like that this is like the set that they have in LA that they've been restoring for years. I feel like it's the pretty much.
Alan says it looks a bit off, but I'll take it. I agree.
It's a little bit off. It doesn't look like it did in Generations. But that's okay.
Okay, here's why it looks off and it doesn't look quite like it did in Generations, is because this is formatted for 16:9 as opposed to the old one, which was formatted for like 9:16 or not?
4:3.
4:3. Yeah. So the cameras and the lighting is way more spaced out as opposed to where it needed to be like crammed into like a smaller room and all that.
Yeah, because we never got wide shots like this.
Yeah, you would never get a wide shot like this.
You would never see both sides of that.
No.
Like,
well, we never watched
both those doors. You would have never saw in the original series.
The thing was that the Enterprise D was hard to show on like a 4:3 screen.
It really was. Yeah.
So it really works cool.
You always got half and half, right? Yeah.
I believe that's why it doesn't look quite the same.
Well, and as Mike says, it was also completely rebuilt too. So.
Yeah. And here Worf says he prefers the E.
I preferred the weapon systems on the E. Additional phaser arrays, torpedo.
Worf, like you'll be disparaging the Enterprise D, and I was like, Worf sucks at this moment. Like
I've been telling you that for years.
I'm normally pro Worf, but here I was like, Worf, you shut your mouth.
He brought it back. He brought it back.
Yeah, he's like, she's beautiful, Jody. She's beautiful. But even like later on, he's like, we have weapons, but limited. Not as good as the E was. I was like, the E was an inferior ship in my opinion.
It's just simple. He is not a merry man.
He's not a merry man.
Could use
and then Data's here with the chair.
When he like quickly takes
chair.
Hello, chair.
Is this connected?
It was nice. Are we sure we're not connected? Oh yeah, he's like, you're looking at the only ship in the entire fleet not connected. But wouldn't like the Defiant also not be connected? Voyager would also not be connected. So you have like more, but I guess those are museum pieces.
I guess Dave, actually all the ships around at the museum wouldn't be connected.
That's what I'm saying. Like they have more than just this one ship, but they don't have anybody to fly those other ships. So they're gonna just have to make do with the how are they gonna
some captains like Chris Rios or something to like come back and fly.
They used to have 1,000 people for the Enterprise D. Now they're gonna run it with 7 people.
Yeah,
a lot of it's automated.
Riker,
Data was able to run it by himself.
We're the crew of the Enterprise, man.
We are the crew of the USS Enterprise.
That's true, Laura.
And more than that, we're your family.
some good lines in here.
And he's like, Jody and your kids are our family too, just so you know.
Yeah. You know, I like it's nice to see them all like together, of course. And then he's like, he gives the speech. We see the ship when the ship lights up, like
that was a good moment.
Come on. How could you not love that? You know,
I loved it. I did love it.
I did like it.
It was an amazing moment. Worf with the
Worf is even smiling.
Weapons are ready, although they are limited.
Well, at least we got them.
At least we got them. Shut up, Worf.
Oh, they are limited.
Yeah, we got even Jody
back at the DS9, you jackass.
Jody back at the pilot chairs, like back in season 1. Like, there's some great moments here. We see the ship come out of the doors. The ship is flying again, and
so
I don't know.
In engineering?
So well done.
Nobody.
It's but there needs to be somebody in engineering, Dave.
I don't know what.
Robots.
Like, this is okay. Even with a crew of 1,000 people, it's amazing how big the Enterprise D is.
Why is there so many lights on if nobody's on this ship?
Oh,
exactly. There's nobody on board. Like, well, I guess there might be some of the crew from the space station that came along, right?
Listen,
like
Captain Kirk flew the Enterprise with a skeleton crew as well. We know this. Everything's
there
automated.
are people who work on that space dock, right? Like,
That's
so maybe
true.
he took some of those guys with him. They work for Jody, so it's possible. But
maybe they didn't realize he was going to take the ship, and they're all like now stuck on the ship with him.
And then he gives the engaged guys
because they're all over at Earth for Frontier Day.
Yeah, all Frontier Day. We see the Enterprise come out here. It warps off.
I love how they did that. It was just a little bit of porn there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. To see the ship again, and they got weapons, and they're limited.
That's a
whatever.
painting. That shot there is a painting.
Oh yeah, I love it. To see the Enterprise.
Well, and if you notice, it's on the exact same angle as the painting that he had in his study.
I moored the ship was destroyed in generations. Like, you know, this was a great ship, and I never loved the E. I never took to the E, and so to see,
I'm fine with all of them, but but I agree with you, Dave. This is a character that we got to see die, and then now it's been resurrected. So that's nice. Yeah.
You know, so it is nice, even if it's only half of the original ship, but I'll accept it. It's back. Perry McAllis
deserves resurrection.
Okay.
Kylie
I love Mike's idea here. All right. Let's resurrect Kirk because his body's at the Daystrom facility.
Sure.
Let's resurrect him, give him a goddamn ship, and let's go cause some hell. That's
my god. We need another season.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Kirk in the 25th century. Yeah, let's do it. Oh yeah, we see here Alice Krieg is the voice of the Borg Queen. So she never was there. She just did the voice. And Picard is the title, guys. Okay, so let's get into. I don't think do we have fun facts?
You know I'd love to spend a second here and just say, what are we gonna do? Like, what do you think is gonna happen next week? Who's coming back?
Girardi's coming back.
All right.
I don't think Girardi's coming back.
I think Girardi's coming back.
I think it's good. I think they're going to somehow stop Jack's going to.
I think Jack's going to die.
The power of love is somehow going to save them all.
The power of Wesley's love is going to convert Jack.
Huey Lewis is going to show up? That sounds amazing.
Murphy says Wesley's coming back. All right. You got Girardi, Jody. What about you, Dave?
Murphy, he doesn't need to come back.
I think they don't have a lot of time here. Like, I feel like there's
that's the thing. Girardi would make sense, okay, because Girardi is now running a rogue group of.
You can't say Wesley wouldn't make sense. He's literally the brother and son of two of the main characters of this main story.
Wesley doesn't even know this guy exists, probably.
I'm sure he does know this guy exists if he's working like back shadow doors like I think he is. I bet you Wesley's the most powerful character in all of Star Trek.
But we never see that.
I would be disappointed if he just sort of snapped a finger like Q and that'd be it. You know, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's too easy.
Oh, wouldn't it be great if Q showed back up?
You know, and
imagine if Q shows back up and throws all the ships back.
No, I think it's got to be simpler.
Look at Laura Smith there.
It's got to come down to that the Seven, they're going to have to unite their powers.
Janeway as a Borg expert.
Their Captain Power Planet power rings. Our powers combined, you know, and
it's going to be the Avengers of Starfleet captains come back. You're going to get Janeway, you're going to get Kirk, you're going to get Cisco, you're going to get Buddy from Enterprise. I forget his name.
Even Archer, he's going to be like 300
Archer,
years old.
yeah, exactly, yeah. You're just gonna get positronic Kirk and Archer, old Janeway, Cisco from some wormhole.
Yeah, wormhole Cisco.
I don't know.
He'll be just a
I
big
do
like
not
poofy
need
cloud.
Cisco on this show at all.
Janeway is the Borg. Janeway, I think, could show up. I think Wesley's on the table, but I hope he's not the one that they come back to, because I don't really need to see Will Wheaton back as Wesley Crusher.
And we still haven't seen Denise Crosby.
Why the hate?
I'm just like, when I saw him last season.
Crusher. I just don't think he's needed.
His appearance last season, I thought, was very disappointing and kind of.
It was just kind of shoehourned in.
And I felt like he took Soji with him, and I was like, "Go take Soji, Wesley Crusher, and never come back." And
Okay. Here's why. Okay, even more reason, because
They're probably
took Soji.
sliding down
He
hallways
took
and
Data's
socks
daughter,
right now.
the fucking apex of android. Robotics. So Wesley and his magic back door has got Soji. They're gonna come in. Wesley and Soji are gonna help save the day. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. And people are gonna be like, "What?" And I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, it happened."
You are so off. That's not even funny.
Jody, I don't know.
No way that's gonna happen.
I like the Girardi idea better myself.
Girardi, I think, is the one.
Okay.
Hey, I called the Borg connection.
Maybe Darmok.
I'm 100% accurate right now.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be Shaka when the walls fell. Is my prediction. Guys, let's get into the ratings.
That'd be cool if he showed up.
It would be
an old version of him.
They're bringing other people back from the dead. Guys, Vox. What do we want to give this?
We still haven't seen Denise Crosby yet.
Only in hologram form in the data mind.
Yeah, but that was just a second.
And it was teased that she's actually in the show.
Still her image, so she got a royalty.
Well, she got a royalty, yeah.
So anyway, guys, I'm gonna give this up. The first part of the episode, I'm not really great on, and I love everything like sort of after they go to Frontier Day. So I'd say that I would give this episode an 8.5. It was pretty good, but I can only go so high.
Dave, this episode deserves a 10.
This is a 10.
This episode deserves a 10.
Jody, you're 10.
And I don't give out 10s very often. If you look at my history,
exactly, I'm with Jody. The moment this episode got a 10 was when Data put his hand and he was like, I want to make you feel better. And he's like, it's impossible. So he just puts his hand, the most human thing Data's ever done. That moment got a 10 for me for this whole episode.
Needs to come back.
And it completely overwashes the 5 to 10 minutes of super slow getting Jack to where he needs to be story point arc so that we can carry on with the crew and get to the D. Get to that sweet.
You need to chop that off for me.
That's a 10.
I think Girardi's going to show up.
No. You need to overlook that. You need to overlook that. You need to overlook that. Okay?
And then we're going to have the same idea.
10 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to have the same. We're going to have the same exit that we did with the original series cast in the 6th movie, where they're like, point to that star and ride it all the way to the morning.
Adam, can we get your rating, please?
Yeah, Dave, I'm with you. I was a little bit disappointed with the beginning of this episode, so I'm going to give it a 9.5, though.
9.5 from Adam. So we have a 9.6. I think we got to assume that
that was a 10.
How do you give Surrender more than this episode? I don't understand that,
Surrender.
Dave. How do you give Surrender? Surrender was a bad episode.
Whoa, I wasn't here last week. Now I want to hear what happened.
No. Dominion was a bad episode. But yeah, no.
Okay, well, I think that this episode was kind of good until, but once it was, there was a part of it that wasn't for me. So I'd say that I would have gave it an 11. I would always skip this first 20 minutes. I think on the rewatch. That's all. So because of that, it's not a perfect episode, and therefore I have to rate it at 8.7. That's where I'm sticking.
Fair enough.
8.8. I'll go to 8.8. I'll go to 8.8.
Yeah, Tenza. Sorry, we don't know your first name because it's just a T. But Tenza there says that Michelle Barrett's voice was there. I don't.
Yeah. When she was, because Captain Jean-Luc Picard, you can take command of the Enterprise bridge.
Oh,
it was Major Barrett. Yeah. And
and then he's like, "I'll take the field decommission,
the field demotion or whatever." Because apparently Picard's all about his ego and his old age.
Good catch there, Tenza.
Yeah. Guys,
I didn't catch that, and I've watched it 3 times already today, and I didn't catch that.
We're at a 9.7 for our total rating. It is the highest rating we've had this season.
I'm sure Davin gave this a 10, by the way.
Oh no,
we already put in 10.
He would probably go 11.
Yeah.
Why don't you just autofill it all with 10s and because that's Davin.
He went 10, 8, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 9, 10.
I'm gonna predict that next week's episode
Wesley will
is gonna be
save the day again.
No, he won't. He doesn't.
Murphy, you're the lowest on this season so far. You're averaging 7.9 for the season.
Murphy, if that happens, I'm not. I wouldn't love the ending.
Wesley is so insignificant to this cast now that they even cut him out of the fucking movie.
But she did get Beverly Crusher just mentioned him back in this episode. But listen, I'd like to see him again. I don't want to end with him saving the day. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Right.
Wesley no, but he's not going to be saving the day, but he's going to be a crucial part of the events that lead to saving the day.
Yeah, like, I don't think we need another character to come in at this point, other than, and I certainly don't want them to kill any more people. Don't bring Janeway in just to kill her, please, or Tuvok for that.
Well,
matter.
They're not going to kill Janeway.
You know, like,
they may
I
kill
guess
Tuvok,
will we see the living Tuvok in the finale?
No, we've seen him. He's done.
Will we see Riker and Troy's daughter?
Probably.
They'll probably get a reunion hug, and that's it. But
will Jack hook up with Jody?
No, we won't see Riker and Troy's daughter.
Wesley is coming through the void that Jody is guarding.
Will Jack and Sydney?
I feel like Jack and Sydney's chances get completely ruined because of this whole Borg thing. She's gonna be like, no. You remind me of all that Borg shit. That ship has sunk and been torpedoed and set afire and blown to smithereens. That is not happening now.
Yeah. Will we see 7 of 9 as captain of the Titan by the end of the episode?
Yes.
Yes. That's guaranteed. That's an impossible.
Assuming the Titan survives.
See, that would be okay. That she finds a way to keep the Borg out of the Titan and take it back, because she's
and that's what one of the people commented on earlier.
And those particular officers that are affected, right?
7 and 9 Raffi.
So Mike said that earlier.
That's gonna be
Raffi and 7 on the Titan will be a sabotage plot point for
Jody's daughters. Whatever. I think Jody's daughters will
attack.
Right. So, I'm looking. I feel like it can't not be good. They got the Enterprise D. They got the crew. They're fighting the Borg. Whatever. It's what else could we want, right? So how can you complain? On the other hand, something more original maybe would have been fun, but on the other hand, I can't blame them for just going for the old faithful after 2 tough seasons. Well, but of Picard.
But we also had the Borg arc in last season, so
I know, and they've completely forgotten about that. It seems.
Yeah, but the Borg arc,
unless they tie it back in. So
yeah,
the Borg are one of the biggest threats to the Federation, though, so it kind of makes sense to have them.
Yeah,
but after
Starfleet's boogeyman,
after everything they did last season with Jody and the Borg and everything, I feel like it's sort of like they don't really know what they want to say about the Borg. They're sometimes they're victims, and sometimes they're the big bad ever, and they're going to destroy everything. And I don't know,
but that's literally every enemy to everybody.
Yeah,
so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Well, guys, on that note, I think we can sign off for tonight. Thanks for being with us here and reviewing Star Trek Picard season 3.
Thanks for all the comments too.
And thanks for all the comments and the live feeds here. Yeah. We I think that this episode got a lot of excitement out on the internet, and we'd like to hear what you think about it. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and check out all of the great content we have here on Live Long and Podcast all the time, where we talk about shows like Star Trek Enterprise. We've been going through and rewatching all those episodes.
It's been a long road.
Been a long road getting from here. So check that out on Mondays.
Adam had black hair when we started.
Yeah. I did. But the gray hair makes you immune to the Borg taking you over to the
I'm just kidding, Adam.
So that's okay. And then on Tuesdays we talk about Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We've been going through for over 3 years now.
Dave was 17 when they started.
I was like what a wee lad when we started talking about that show. And so we're wrapping up season 6 in a few weeks, and then we're going hiatus and then finish up season 7. Of course, we're doing Star Trek Picard. We'll be covering Strange New Worlds, Star Trek season 2 of that show. That's coming out in June.
June 15th.
So make sure to check us out when that comes out. And I think eventually we'll get Prodigy and Discovery's final season and different shows.
Discovery you're not getting for another year at least. So.
Yeah. And I think it's coming out next March, or something like that. Yeah. So which is like a year away.
A year, yeah.
Anyway, so check out all the great stuff we have here on the channel, like Science Division, trivia and debates, and Locutors of Trek, the long format discussions, and our operations division, which does stuff like play Star Trek Online video games, and also like Star Trek Radio Theater. Some fun stuff. We're part of a federation of podcasts, United Federation of Podcasts, all kinds of great shows like Hold Up, a movie podcast that features Davin and Murphy every second Wednesday, talking about 3 movies. Last night they were talking about internet movies like The Net and Hackers and Guns Akimbo, which they got to the bottom of. They had 2 special guests on. We've got a question here from Laura Smith. Could female?
It's supposed to be Borg. She corrected that. So could female Borg return to deal with Borg elements of story? Yeah, Jody.
I think he's referring to Jody.
Yeah, sure.
I think you mean Jody. Yeah.
But we also got Wesley's coming through that void, and the Girardi is guarding.
So basically, Wesley will be nothing but a taxi. That seems fitting.
Probably.
Indeed. Also, Davin also has X-Rated, the X-Men the Animated Review Show every Tuesday with him and Andre. We talk about that old cartoon from the 90s. The Graphic Histories podcast is Andre's podcast, where he interviews people with comic books and in film, and people like Michael Chan, who does the Hellbound podcast with Alex Blackburn every Wednesday, which is an audio podcast you can find through all of us. Check out our website, ufpodcast.com, where you'll see stuff like Super Mario Brothers Podcasting, who are on tonight. They're talking about Big Brother Canada 11. And we also have been covering Survivor season 44. And we talk about Marvel stuff like Ant-Man, Wasp, Guardians of the Galaxy, all that stuff. Davin's going to be on tomorrow on his other podcast, KBBBL, the Simpsons podcast, with Francis and Baker, where they've been going through all those shows. And I'm going to be on there talking about Dans and Homer with them. There's
good episode.
There's also Trivial Debates, a show where we argue about movies, TV, sports, and more. There's a judge. There's 3 contestants. Most recently, we talked about pro wrestling with Murphy hosting and Jaemeel and Jason and Andre competing. That was a ton of fun. And
there's a lot of shows in this.
There's a lot of shows, and the newest show, Eamon on Track, where Eamon talks about reviews albums, like musical albums with guests and different people on his podcast. So those are all the great shows we have on the network. Make sure to check all those out.
It should have been called Thunderbird.
The Thunderbird. Well, now we published. All right, guys. Well, this was a great one. I really enjoyed it. And let's go out on Shelby. For Shelby, R.I.P. See you later.
Godspeed, Shelby.
250 years ago today, the Enterprise NX-01, the first Warp 5 capable vessel to be constructed by human hands, made its maiden voyage. With it, a crew of 83 souls embarked on a journey, one of bravery, perseverance, and sacrifice, that would lead to the birth of what we know today as Starfleet.
Oh, you didn't put in the clip where she gets killed too?
No. See you next time, everyone.